What's up and welcome back to KindaFunny's Rocky/Creed in review. Of course, I'm Tim Geddes and I am joined by the birthday boy himself, Andy Cortez. Happy birthday. How you feeling?
Thank you very, very much. I'm feeling phenomenal. I'm ready to talk about this movie. Ready to talk about, I guess, what we can get ready for, which is the real big show in part 3. What's his face?
Jonathan
Majors has his face.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think of his face. I think of the body.
Exactly.
I don't think of his face.
A whole lot going on.
Yeah,
lot going on. Joining us as well, the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Happy birthday, Andy. I didn't get a chance to say that to you yet.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
My brother got you some Legos for your birthday and left him on the bus.
Oh,
And he's really sad.
Oh,
I feel so bad for him too.
Damn.
And making his return, of course, it's Rocky, it's Creed. We need the one and only Sancho West.
Hey, I'm very, very excited to talk to you guys about Creed. And man, it's good to be back. And hey, you might see me in person soon.
You might. And by might, I mean 1,000%, baby, because he's coming here. He's going to be right there on this table for Creed 3. We're going to watch the movie together. I'm excited about that. And guess what? If Sancho's here, we're probably going to stream with him.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you guys are going to get into, but it's going to be great. That'll be the Friday, March 3rd. It must be the day Creed 3 comes out. So stay tuned for that. Really exciting stuff overall. Of course, this is KindaFunny's In Review, where each and every week we rank, review, and recap different movie franchises. If there's a franchise you love or hate, chances are we have already ranked it, reviewed it, and you should check it out. You can check it out at youtube.com/KindaFunny or roosterteeth.com. You can also get it as a podcast by searching your favorite podcast service for KindaFunny In Review, and we'll be right there for you. This week, we have 2 in reviews, which is great. Of course, we have, there's Creed, there's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Last week we did Magic Mike's Last Dance, so you can definitely check that out. I was saying it's probably going to get 4,000 views. I'm pleased to say, as of today, it finally crossed 4,000 views.
all right.
We fucking did it, everybody.
We technically have 2.25 reviews out right now. 2.25.
2.25. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
2.5.
But you can check that out. Of course, if you want to get the show ad-free and watch live as we record these things, though, you got to go to patreon.com/KindaFunny. Just like our producers, Trent Barry, James Hastings, Colin Huguenel, Casey Andrew, Nathan Lamoth have done. We appreciate all of you so very, very much. Today, we're brought to you by Honey and Shady Rays, and that's not accurate at all. It's HelloFresh, baby. We're brought to you by HelloFresh, and I'll tell you all about that later. Let's get right into it. I've been very excited to get to this one. Creed, released on November 25th, 2015, which is just so wild to think about this franchise starting in 1976.
Hell yeah, bro.
And having iterations pretty much every decade.
They endure.
They endure. Is there any other franchise that has a movie out in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, 2010s, and now 2020s?
Star Wars, but not in the 90s, right?
Not in the 90s.
No, 90s, yeah. And
really
Halloween, probably?
Yeah, probably, because they did all those Jamie Lee Curtis, like H2Os in the 90s.
Yeah.
But yeah, Halloween, maybe. There's some horror movies. Maybe Scream. No, Scream came out in the 90s, not 70s. That's dumb.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
So absolutely wild. The runtime is 2 hours and 13 minutes, the longest film in the Rocky saga, directed by Ryan Coogler. Really one of the movies to put him on the map.
Yeah.
Coogie Nights.
Coogie Nights, everybody.
Coogie Nights.
Fruitvale Station was another big one from him. And of course, Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And speaking of that combination, the music was done by Ludwig Göransson. And goddamn, he goes off.
Music in this movie is incredible.
I just can't even.
It's so good.
I have to apologize to Tim. We'll get there here in a bit.
Oof, that hurt. That stings. I've been there. I hate it.
Have you ever apologized or admitted you were wrong? Ever? No.
I wasn't fucking going to bring this up, but we watched the intro before the show started, and Nick looked at himself and talked about himself in the most just disgustingly like sexual objectification way. And it's like, Nick, you're such an asshole.
He looks at himself in the intro and he goes, "Oh man, I gotta get that beard back. I look so much better back then. Look at me now. I fucking lost it."
Which I fucking love. I love all of that. But yeah, Andy, I can't wait to hear what you have to say to me because I have some feelings about it, okay?
Yeah.
This one had a budget of $40 million and a box office of $173 million. It was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for our boy Sly. Didn't get it, but got the nomination. Sancho West, I want to start with you. What'd you think of Creed?
Dude, I remember watching Creed. I mean, it came out like 9 years after Rocky Balboa. So I watched Creed and thinking like, how a great way to continue the legacy of Rocky Balboa. But the thing is, like, when I watched it back then, it felt like a brand new experience still, even though it still hits the tropes of Rocky. It follows the same kind of formula that we've been talking about this entire in review. But for me, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth, but only because of what's been happening with Stallone with the entire Rocky franchise. And I don't want to get ahead, but he's been having issues with Creed 3 and things of that sort. So the whole time I'm watching this, I love what Rocky does in this movie. I love Sly Stallone in this movie so much, and that it makes me feel like I don't know where to rank it. That's where like I've never walked into in review, even as a fan, not knowing where I'm going to rank something. And so I'm so curious to where you're going to rank this one. I loved it. There were some times where I felt that runtime. My only like biggest critique against it is that I feel that Adonis Creed or Michael B. Jordan, he just comes off like he doesn't like it. Just rushes the beginning, and he's so mad about everything that I feel like a lot of the characters tell him who he is, and I get that that's the whole point because he doesn't know who he is, and I just feel there's moments of that I'm not finding that attachment to Adonis as much as Rocky. Like when Rocky walks in the room, and I noted it down, it's like 15 minutes within the movie that he actually comes into the movie. I'm like, awesome, he's here, because it just added something to it that the movie was lacking. But I don't know, man. I just feel that with Adonis Creed, I just felt like he's really angry and mad, and I was like, he has a lot of characters telling him who he is or what he needs to go through. That's where it kind of like loses its mark for me. But I still don't know where I'm going to rank it. I liked it. I enjoyed watching it. This is like probably the third time I've seen it, and I think that the best part about this movie was like it kept the Rocky legacy going in a much organic way. More so, I'm sorry, Tim, more so than Fast and the Furious, where it's like, oh, by the way, yeah, Han never died, bro. He's still alive. You know, like it never had that kind of a moment like that for me.
Yeah, I'll take next on this, just because you're saying you're not sure where you're gonna rank this. I'm so sure where I'm gonna rank this. This is number one. I knew it was gonna be for me when we first started doing Rocky in review. I had never seen the Rocky movies, and I'd only seen Creed 1 once, and it was on it was the Greg Miller special, where on a flight back from Japan, me and Gia watched it on the back of a airplane seat, which you guys can imagine I did not want to do that. She started watching the movie, and I was like, I'm not, this people I know love this movie. I don't want to watch it this way.
This is not the way I want to consume this.
Yeah. So she started it, and I did the thing where I'm kind of like looking over at it, and about 10 minutes in, I'm like, can you start over? Yeah, we both did the thing, 3, 2, 1, hit play.
What's your threshold for that, by the way? Is she 20 minutes in? You asking her to start over? 30 minutes? 10 minutes is fine.
I'm done pretty egregious with this shit. Oh yeah, I'm very
hour 45, and you're like, start it over. We'll watch it over.
Start it over. Yeah. So we did it all, and I have never been that excited on an airplane in my life going through this movie. There are moments where both of us were just like so hyped and so in, and it's, just dead silence around us. But so that was like really special to me, and I've been really excited to watch this again, and it's my first time since then, and being able to watch it properly. What it is not my first time is listening to the soundtrack, which I have done pretty much every day since I first watched this movie, which I fucking love so damn much. But I now have so much more context, having seen the Rocky movies in review leading into this. Before just watching it, I thought Creed worked so well as just, you don't need to watch the other ones. Like, it's just watching this, and it's a great movie.
That's so wild to me.
On its own.
Wild to me. You had no context going into this movie.
And I stand by it. I think this movie does a great job of just working on its own. But now that I know everything, I'm like, oh my God, that's a reference to 5. Yep. That's this, that's that. I'm like, this is so
There's the robot.
Good. There's the fucking robot there. Singing you happy birthday.
There's Polly's porn collection.
Yeah, exactly. But
it's like walking, it's like a video game getting all the Easter eggs when you walk around like, here's Polly's porn collection.
wait, Andy has that thing where you go, huh? And then you put it down?
Yeah, you rotate it. Polly getting freaky, huh?
And also, this movie doesn't have Polly, so it's like there's just like a lot of wins going on.
Right.
But real talk, I adore this movie. Like, I just think it is such a great time. I think it's such a great story. Sancho, I don't think you're wrong. I think that a lot about what you're saying about Adonis as a character is I get why they did some things, and I think that the choices they made make this kind of work on its own better than like really trying to tie everything in a little too much. But I think overall it really worked for me. There were some choices that I don't think were absolutely perfect, but like goddamn, man, the montage in this movie, the training montage, it's just like. It is so inspiring. It is so exciting. And the fight is great. Just like the supporting cast, everything they got going on. Tessa, goddamn Thompson, man.
Yeah, she's great.
She's so great.
so
I
natural,
love,
dude.
she's such a natural. Them together's great. Her having her own dreams and own things she's doing. It's just like, this movie is refreshing as hell. And I love that, with this Halloween, Top Gun Maverick, like legacy sequels can work and be really fucking good. And like, not just because of what they're tied to, but on their own. I think that this is one of the best examples of that. And I can't wait for next week to watch 2. And I really can't wait for 3. But yeah, this for me it's number 1. Nick Scarpino.
Yeah, for me as well. I mean, maybe not number 1, but I enjoyed this movie watching it again. I enjoyed it the first time. And actually, just right off the rip, when they were like, hey, this is going to be what this movie's about, I'm like, yep, that makes sense. What a great idea. And kudos to Stallone for finally going for it, because I know Ryan Coogler lobbied really hard with him to make this a reality. And it's just a really great way to continue the lore of the original franchise while also sort of soft rebooting it for a newer generation. I mean, Michael B. Jordan's a huge star now. He was, on the rise then, and this kind of, I don't want to say this put him on the map, because
it did
quite a few things, but he
was in The Wire. He was in
Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights and Chronicle.
Right. Fruitvale was the one where he got like a lot of like nods for.
Andy, fantastic.
And then this was
All right.
yeah.
He was a Fantastic Four. Yeah.
He
He was.
And
Big star.
was.
Yeah, oof.
Sure was,
So
man. Sure
it's really fun for me, and it's I'll never forget. I was talking to Snowbike Mike, which is like talking to a child, and he was like, "What's Creed about, Nick?" And I was like, "Well, do you want the long version or the short version?" And he goes, "Give me the long version." And I sat in the Let's Play lab with
Sit
him,
on my lap.
and I
son.
said, "This is the story of Rocky." And then years later, this is the story of Creed. And when I got to the fact that Apollo Creed, who used to be Rocky's biggest opponent and then turned his best friend and then died in the ring, and then years later, Rocky would come back to train his son Adonis, Mike
Great
just
name,
went,
by the way.
Mike just went like this.
Oh, such a good name.
Whoa.
It's anime,
Dude, it's
so
incredible,
sick.
right? And I love they call him Donnie too for short, but
Yeah,
he's Adonis. In the lore of the Creed family, everyone's named after
But
some
like,
sort of Greek
I
god.
mean, they kind of. It's also to kind of keep a secret. I feel like I felt like he was going by Donnie because he didn't want to be like Adonis. I'm Adonis.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's the whole emotional sort of crux of his
Right.
character in this, is that he's trying to distance himself from his father because
yeah.
he feels abandoned and he doesn't feel like he's a real Creed. And then, of course, by the end of it, he's not no longer a false Creed, which is a weird thing for anyone to say, but pretty
is
Rick said,
weird.
"You're a false Creed." I'm like, what the. What does that mean?
What?
What does that mean?
It's like what is it? The fucking demon body or whatever in Avatar.
Yeah. But I really like it. And I think if you were going to ask anyone who's a huge fan of Rocky, like, how do you continue this? How do you reboot it? Infusing Michael B. Jordan as this new character and having that lineage take over from, because Rocky's great, but we've told all the stories we possibly can.
Like
they could
4
have
times.
They could have
You
gone
sure?
potentially with one of his sons, but like we've already seen the sons sort of be growing and doing off on their own. We've seen their stories already. So this is really kind of a fun way to pass the torch and pass the baton to someone who's more interesting. And then obviously Michael B. Jordan, I just think is I can see your guys' criticism with him, but I feel like he works really well with everyone else in the scenes that he's in. And I think he and Tessa Thompson have great chemistry, and I think he and Sylvester Stallone have really good chemistry. And then when he starts calling him Unc, I'm like, that just hits, man. It's like
hits.
because really what he's looking for is like a father. He's never had a father figure, and Rocky kind of becomes that. But then you have the contrast of Rocky being like, my life is over, and I kind of want it to end because everyone that I've ever loved has moved on. Even my son is living in the far off land of Vancouver. And so it's kind of sad, but you find these characters in a low place and they lift each other up. I think it's a really beautiful story.
Yeah, just a real quick thing. I was reading an interview with Sylvester Stallone talking about Creed 1, and he was saying that he thinks that it's one of the more special Rocky movies because the entire point of it is a relationship between a father and son and how that can change over time, and that it should change over time, and that you should be able to have those relationships with people, and he was specifically saying it doesn't need to be your actual son, but you can have that type of familiar relationship with somebody and have it change their life and change your life back. I'm like, God damn, Sylvester Stallone, you want some shit.
Even with the way the movie begins, where Felicia Rashad's like, she's not even related to him.
Yeah.
And she's like, I feel like you should have someone who can take care of you. And that's such a complex relationship just right off the rip there of like redefining what a mother can be to someone. Like how like good of a person do you have to be for your husband to have cheated on you, had an illegitimate child, probably not his only, and then be like, I'm going to bring you up as my own, as my son, and he calls her Ma, which is incredible.
Incredible.
It's good. I don't know.
Andy Cortez, what'd you think?
I watched it and I thought it was fine, and then I rewatched it and had a bit more of an appreciation for it. I'll still say though that I think I said this on Black Panther interview maybe, that like I think Michael B. Jordan is one of the top 5 best actors when he's yelling. And I think he's one of the bottom 10 actors when he's like kind of soft-spoken in some parts.
The other 90% of the movie?
It's not all the time, but there's a lot of... I'm such a stickler for line delivery. If anybody's watching interview, you know how I feel about just certain moments with certain actors. And God, when Michael B. Jordan is pissed off or yelling or like doing just something really, really loud and angry, he is so convincing and so real. And then... a lot of the other times when he's just kind of talking, it's just like, man, it just doesn't feel right. There's something just off with it.
I would agree with you. I think the moments he shines in this movie though are those moments of like fear in the fighting specifically.
Yeah.
Where Rocky's talking to him and he really does put you in that spot of being on that chair in that corner. And I mean, my favorite part of this is it's a one little thing where the guy's like, how many fingers am I holding up? And Rocky taps in the back of his head. He does such a great job of just being like, 4, 2, and he's just in it, but he's out of it at the same time, which is for me is not
definitely not those moments. Yeah, like I really enjoy a lot of those pieces. There's just some.
It's line deliveries where he's like talking like little lines here that they're just passing with Tessa Thompson. That you're like, you're not really in the scene that well.
Yeah,
things like that, and it doesn't help that she's also a phenomenal actor.
She's incredible,
and
man.
Really, really nailed her character in this, and just has this like confident vibe the entire time that's intimidating, and I think he's supposed to be sort of a little bit intimidated by it, and he's not really selling it too much.
I mean, I think the best acting in the movie is after that. The first fight that we'll get to, by the way, amazing. I mean, just the single shot. I'm such a sucker for that shit.
Let me drop some shit on you real quick about
multiple
that.
one shots.
There's numerous extended shots in the film, which cinematographer Maurice Alberti said helped penetrate the inherent manipulation of filmmaking. The most celebrated example is an entire 2-round boxing match captured in a single Steadicam shot. There's no post-production stitching. None at all. Yeah. Everybody thinks we're cheating, but this is all one shot. The scene was filmed with an Arri Alexa by Steadicam operator Ben Semenoff, and the director Ryan Coogler shot 13 takes of the sequence, with the 11th being the one used in the final film. I just love shit like that.
That's awesome.
But I love they're like, no, there's no cuts, there's no bullshit.
Yeah,
and
you can tell
because there was cuts in the other ones.
Well, there was cuts in a couple things. Those are obvious cuts.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a shot where he comes out of the for the final fight when he's coming out of the locker room. It goes to like dips to dark for a little too long and then comes back up, and I'm like, I wonder if there was a cut there or not.
I think that what they're trying to say is like the only cuts are the obvious cuts. Like that was a cut where they're like, yes, they wanted to explicitly show.
Okay,
this is a cut because they wanted everything to be like it's a one shot.
Oh, that felt like one.
I think like the where I'm trying to struggle with is like I just feel like the way the movie starts, it just doesn't. I don't know. It's like you're on board. Like, how does all of a sudden that Creed's wife decides to help Adonis after the situation? It just feels like you're not really. You have to make a lot of leaps into what's happening to get on board with what's going down with Creed or with Michael B. Jordan. He's a great actor. I love him in a lot of things, and he always brings his A game. I just felt like when you're adding to the Rocky legacy, when it comes to the differences between Creed and Rocky himself, this movie needed Rocky a lot. And when it comes down to it, I feel that, I don't know if it's a writing thing or something when it comes down to what's happening. I just feel like there's a lot of scenes where people are telling a lot of things to Creed himself. Like they're telling things to Adonis, they're saying who he is. And it just doesn't. Those are the things where I have a hang up in. But overall, I really did like the vibe of the movie. I just don't know like where's my hiccup with it. That's the only thing,
Yeah, I do feel like once Sylvester Stallone is brought in, it really feels like the heart is brought back 100%. Into it. Because I wasn't feeling super attached to a lot of the rest of it. Like just like Sancho was saying, again, I'm more amazed by the spectacle of the one shot. I'm kind of amazed by the technical aspects of that. But when Sylvester Stallone is introduced and he's doing all the Rocky-isms that we talked about in the other movies, and he's just such a lovable goof, man. And I want to fucking fight for this man until the death. Like I just love this dude, Like, and I feel like he really brings that he brings that sort of uncle kind of vibe to it when he's suddenly here and he's hesitant at first and wait, who told you this story? What the fuck? Like, oh my god, like you're holy shit, what the like that realization is just so great, and then just that's adorable moment of him being at the boxing sort of what's it called, like the training the gym, yeah, being at the gym. And that great reaction from Michael B. Jordan walking in and being like, "Oh my God, he's fucking here. He came."
Yeah.
And be like, "Yeah, I was in town." And they're like, "Oh, just so adorable, man. He's just the fucking best, dude." And that's why I feel kind of similar to Sancho, where I'm kind of worried about the rest of it because I know that they've had some issues with filmmaking and the rights and wanting to go in certain directions. But I still enjoyed the movie. I don't know where it'll rank for me either right now. I'll have to look at our overall rankings. I got to assume it'll be up there though with some of the other movies that we've had in this franchise.
Absolutely.
Fine.
We'll get there. We'll get there later. I want to take a real quick word from our sponsors, but when we get back, we're going straight in the plot, baby. Shout out to HelloFresh for sponsoring this episode. Remember those New Year's goals you promised yourself that you'd stick to? Well, HelloFresh is here to help you eat better by delivering fresh ingredients and easy recipes right to your door, taking the hassle out of dinner time. Fast and fresh recipes, HelloFresh's latest line of meals featuring robust flavors and filling portions are ready in less than 15 minutes, so you can enjoy taste and quality done quick with recipes like falafel power bowls, seared steak and potatoes with béarnaise sauce, or Southwest pork and bean burritos. A ton of us here at Kind of Funny have been using HelloFresh for years. Kevin loves how easy it is to get Paula vegetarian options, while I just love how quick the fast and fresh recipes come together during a hectic day in the studio. Go to HelloFresh.com/KindaFunny65 and use code KindaFunny65 for 65% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/KindaFunny65 and use code KindaFunny65 for 65% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
Here's the plot.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the plot for Creed. One step at a time, Tim. One punch at a time. One round at a time. That's how we're going to build this champion, ladies and gentlemen. But first, we got to go back to 1998, the year I graduated high school. We're over in Los Angeles.
I love that's the thing that you pull from this entire moment. Is
I saw that. I was like,
wow.
Okay, yeah. Some people
middle school, maybe.
That's how it goes. We're over in juvenile hall, and a fight breaks out. And little Adonis beats the hell out of some kid. In walks Felicia Rashad.
You know what I didn't like right here? He's a good kid. Just fights a lot. Well, he's not a good kid then. He's fighting.
Beating the living
He's
fuck out of people.
fighting all the time. That is not a good kid. I'm sorry.
And especially if his father is one of the most well-trained, well-known boxers of all time.
Right.
Like if he's only fought twice or three times, maybe shit happens. But like if he's fighting all the time, not a good kid. I'm sorry.
Question I have about this part is, and I've only watched the Creed trailers like a couple times when they've just like been in front of me, but we know that there's relationships. Are they going to do the fucking flashback thing where we see that Jonathan Majors is actually in jail with him in this scene?
Probably. I imagine we will, because they were like watching each other's back in the day, right? That's the whole point of it.
So
Damn,
we will see it.
Damn.
I really like this scene. I really like Felicia Rashad. I think she brings a great moment here where you can tell she's conflicted here, but she's basically like, listen, I lost you lost your mother and I lost Apollo, and pretty much we're all we have left of those two people. So why don't you come stay with me? And she's like, she invites me to stay with her and says, I would like that very much for you to come stay with me. Would you like to do that? And then she said, what was my dad's name? And then it just says,
got chills again.
Cool as
and
shit,
at that
bro.
point, I'm like, they're nailing this movie. They figured out what we all want in this. It's so good. Cut to, of course, 2015, the year I graduated college. Tijuana, Mexico. And Adonis is all grown up now, man. And let me tell you, he is yacked out of his gourd. And Michael B. Jordan really put this together.
College?
No, I graduated college in 2002.
Yeah,
I just wanted to feel young for once. Cool shot. And this is the first one shot, right? We follow him all the way up the stairs into the venue. We go on the crowd, and as we come back into the bell rings, and he starts fighting and just knocks this guy fucking out. And then he goes back to this boring ass financial group that he works at in LA where they call him Don. And he's like, you know what? This is not for me. I finally won my 15th fight, and it's time to resign. So he submits a letter of resignation, then heads over to his mom's house, but he doesn't have the heart to tell her the bad news. Then he watches old fights of his father. And this is, I mean, look, I get it.
Are you about to talk shit about this scene?
He is.
It's just a small pet peeve of mine. It's a small pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
When they show, as for fight footage, they show the scenes of the movie that are clearly like would never be covered in a normal fight that way. Like nobody got that close to him, low angle from the fucking the mat. They just don't have that. But
you know, Nick, we had him boxing as if he was his father.
Dad. Yeah, he's mirroring him
in front of the projector.
It's incredible.
This is
Thank you, Tim.
fucking awesome. I fucking loved it.
It's visual storytelling, Nick. Okay?
Exactly.
The projection is on him. There's a shadow behind him. You
Hit it
know,
with me, Andy. Shadow boxing. One thing I wanted to point out though is that the movie starts just like Rocky 1 starts, him fighting in a really crappy place in a church. This one's been out there in Tijuana, so it's like kind of strange and weird.
TJ.
And I was waiting for someone to go, "You bum! You're a bum." So that's what I was waiting for that. But yeah, there's a lot. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of parallels to Rocky 1 and Creed 1.
Yep.
Of course, the next day he goes over to Delphi Boxing Academy, home of Apollo Creed, where I believe this is Duke's son.
It is. And they confirmed that, which is
Little Duke.
fucking
They call him Little
hilarious.
Duke. Love this
Delphi,
actor.
which is the home gym of Creed in this universe, but Delphi, another Greek reference. We got the Adonis, we got Creed.
Oh,
Delphi.
there you go.
I don't know what Delphi is, but Kevin would.
God of
Yeah,
beating the
it's-
shit out of someone.
No, there was the Oracle at Delphi, right? I think Delphi is a place then.
Yes.
Ah, cool.
Greek myth with
Adonis offers, but Little Duke's like, look, I'm not training you, man. Your dad died in this, and I promised that it just wasn't going to happen. We're keeping you away from this.
Sorry.
So
And we're all
aggressive.
watching this, and I swear to God, I'm a fucking like a pig in shit. I'm sitting here and I'm like, who's gonna train him? We all know who's gonna train him. It's gonna be Rocky.
Of course.
Hey, real quick, I nailed it. Delphi's a place. Fuck yeah.
Very cool.
You did.
Good job. Before, of course, he leaves, he offers up a challenge to any guys in the gym. He's like, I'll give you the keys to my Mustang. And then Kevin.
No, he doesn't.
What's that?
He doesn't say that.
What does he say?
Stang.
He says, I'll give you the keys to my Stang.
Okay.
Like one of
Okay.
his stings.
I
it feels
fucking
like.
love this movie.
Badass. Of course, Kevin the Bank Greer asks, what do I have to put up for it? And Adonis replies, your hands.
Ooh.
Come on, son. Of course, he
Come on.
he makes pretty fast work of him, puts his ass down on the mat until the stunt man steps up. Now, you guys know that as a fan of Top Gun Maverick, I'm a huge fan of these nicknames, these call signs all these boxers have, right? And I love that they were like, we're gonna really ride this thing home. We're gonna really drive this home with just the freeze frame
Got it.
and
Video
the
gaming.
graphic
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love it.
I
it's dumb, but I love it.
love that we don't see the Pretty Ricky one until the final match. And it, like, can you imagine like a video game like moment where maybe there's somebody who's been Creed's friend the whole movie, and then suddenly a reversal's about to happen, and you see the title card pop up. You're like, oh man, he's about to fight him right
Yeah,
now. Like,
yeah.
oh,
It's like in Scott Pilgrim with the girl with Roxy, where like you don't
Oh,
expect
right.
them to fight, but then it's like it turns on. Fuck,
Right.
that's so good.
Can I try this out one more time?
Go for it.
There we go, okay.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Why
there
does
we
that
go.
sound like
There
a
we go.
Pokemon character?
A quick little thing here for Danny, the stuntman Wheeler, which is come the fuck on, so good. The Olympic gold medal that he shows off in the HBO promo scene is real, and it belongs
Yep.
to the actor / boxer.
Really?
He won
That guy's been
the
in some
Andre Ward.
stuff.
he won
Andre
the
Ward.
light
Yeah.
heavyweight at the 2004 Summer Games in Athens.
That's really
Wow.
He's a great boxer, dude. He was like the one I always picked in EA Sports, those fight night games.
Really?
Because he was so fast. He was known for just being so accurate and counterpunching. But yeah, Andre Ward was a bad dude. And shout outs to that HBO documentary thing. That thing was sick, dude. It always gets me hyped watching those 24/7 things for boxing fights.
And while watching that, I started thinking, you know, this reminds me of like watching real sports and stuff.
Yep,
But then HBO also had real sex,
it did.
and then I was like, were those the same kind of?
Same
No.
production teams.
But like the idea that HBO had real sports, the sports docudrama
Right.
where like we're interviewing, But then they had real sex, which is kind of the same thing, but about sex.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right?
And I was like, oh my God, that's like, they're the same shit. Like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
You never watched that?
you never watched
You never
Real
saw
Sex?
Real Sex on HBO?
Oh man, Real Sex is like the closest thing I had to porn because I didn't have Cinemax. And on Real Sex, like sometimes it'd be an old person retreat where there'd be like 70-year-olds banging. You're like, I guess this will do.
this is it.
This will do for now.
This will do.
This will have to do.
Tim, he's actually underselling it every time. It would be an old person's retreat.
Yeah,
at 70
and they would, they'd have like it'd be like white people with dreadlocks, and they'd be like fucking
no.
smoking weed, and
It was just it was a lot.
Back
I'm not
bush.
gonna. There's a lot of a lot of gray backbush.
Can we get a real kind of funny? That's what I'm hoping for.
Of course, the stunt man steps in and puts him down for the count. We get the coolest camera move in this whole thing, where as he's falling down, the camera falls with him. Is super rad.
That's pretty rad.
And he's on the ground. Adonis goes home and tells his mom he quit. She sees his black eye and freaks, and this is a fucking great scene. She says, Apollo, he goes, I'm not going to get hurt. And she goes, Apollo didn't get hurt. He got killed. You are your father's son, and you're a part of him, but that doesn't mean you have to be him. And he goes, I'll call you. She goes, you want to be in someone's ring? You don't have to call me. And I'm like, God damn, don't piss off Blizzard. God, bro. Donnie heads to Philly, home of the cheesesteak, Andy.
Philly.
Yeah.
And home of the loser ass Eagles. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
Yeah, okay. We did not have to bring that energy into this. And if you're an Eagles fan, I apologize for how poorly they played in that fourth quarter.
At least comment for the algorithm, though.
Yeah. Come fight in the comments of this.
Yeah, please do. Let's see. He sees the statue of Rocky, which looks different this time. I don't know if there was a different statue. They couldn't get the original prop, but it looks a little bit more. It looks closer to the statue they put up at the end of Batman. Do you know what I mean? Batman Begins than it did the original one. I was like,
I mean,
freaky.
wait,
can they move the statue? It's just there, right?
Yeah,
Statue's there.
they moved it. It
Oh,
used to be
the
on
real
top,
really there. I don't think it's really there. I think
and they moved it to the bottom.
Yeah.
It's on the bottom,
But
now,
it's real.
right?
It's in
Yeah,
Philly.
it's there.
Oh, I didn't know they left it up. I thought they just put it up for the movie and
No.
put it up for like
No.
Rocky Day or whatever the
No,
fuck it
no,
is.
no. it's a
Rocky
real
Day.
thing.
They put it back up to the top for Rocky Day, but then they moved it to the
Everybody
bottom.
gets Rocky Road ice cream.
That's hilarious. That's funny. They put it at the bottom of the stairs so I could run up. That's great.
That's brisk, baby.
He sees the statue and then he heads over to Rocky's restaurant, which is called Adrian's, and that gets me every single time.
That's great.
To see his uncle. And he goes, I heard about a third fight between you and Apollo behind closed doors. Who won? And he says, how? He's like, how did you beat?
man.
And he's like, how'd you beat him? And he goes, time beat him. Time beats everyone. And
Dude,
Donna, yeah,
Such a
Fucking
good
Rocky
line.
just dropping the
like
bombs,
time beat him, man.
This is great, and this was a moment where, like, I appreciate it. All the context there. You don't need to watch Rocky to know any of this. But now that I do it, I know what fight they're talking about. I'm like, that's my favorite movie.
The fucking freeze frame punch.
Yeah, that made me laugh. Is like, hey, how did you know about the fight? Well, there's a painting right there.
It's right behind you. This is a great scene where he's like, I want you to train me. He's like, no, I don't want to train you. I'm done with all that. And he's like, well, you owe me at least that. And he's like, well, your father, died in the ring. And he's like, well, maybe he went out like he wanted to go out. And then Rocky has just a banger of a line. He goes, no, I think he'd rather be here talking to you.
Yeah, man.
And it's like,
Right.
it's just that wisdom of age of, like, if I could do it all over again. We got a couple moments of that in this.
I love
Really
that.
good.
So Joey came over to watch it with us last night, and she hadn't seen this before, and she hasn't seen the other Rocky movies. She's, she's aware of the overall, but she hasn't
The
seen
Family Guy effect.
exactly. And I was like, just kind of like update her as things are happening. I'm like, oh, this is referencing this is like a live in review essentially. And like when this whole section happened of him asking like, oh, will you train me? I was like, Joey, actually before in Rocky 5, Rocky did train a young up and comer, but he then turned on him and it turned into a street brawl.
Joey's like, are you fucking with me? I'm like, I wish I was.
Yeah.
I wish that didn't
Only
exist.
in America.
On his way out, of course, he turns around and says, who won that third fight? And Rocky says he did.
So cool. I love that they did it. I love that they said that.
Because, he did.
Dude, they should have saved that for the final line of the movie, though.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
So who actually won that fight?
Boom.
Credits, man.
Oh,
That would've been
fuck,
sick.
that's good.
That would've been
That's
sick.
so damn good.
Wow.
I appreciate it.
Just drove that into the ground, Andy. that plane just did not stay afloat.
I really appreciate the willingness of Sylvester Stallone to let Creed win. Because like we hear about The Rock and Vin Diesel and all this dumb shit about like who can punch or whatever. I love that they made a Creed movie and like it's a Creed movie and Rocky understands, and Rocky both as a character and Sylvester Stallone, who again wrote the character, and it's like. We've talked for 6 whatever movies now about like how there's a lot of similarities between them. I like that he allowed that to happen and embraced it.
And they even say it multiple times here. They're like Adonis or Apollo Creed was the greatest boxer to ever live. And even Rocky says that. He's like, I'm not the greatest. Like Apollo was. It's just I caught him on the way down, and he got me on the way up, and that's just how fighting goes.
DJ Kento in the chat said there's a reason why the 4K Rocky collection coming out is only 1 through 4. When did Paulie die?
Between 6 and
6,
Creed.
yeah, he wasn't in. He was in Rocky Balboa.
Fucking rough.
He was in all of them? Oh, fuck. I
Yeah.
didn't remember that. Damn, you're
I
right.
think this is
Remember,
the-
he was painting in the meat locker. He was painting
Yeah.
cows.
Oh, you're right. Because I was hoping that,
Yeah.
like, well, I guess, I mean, these Creed movies already kind of ruined it, but, like, I was hoping for Tim's sake that they write off, if he died in part 5, that's not part of the canon anymore. And, like, guess what? Paulie's actually back.
Exactly. Paulie's
He
back.
never
One of
died.
the
Never know,
one,
man.
one fact I want to drop here is
Maybe he got out of the car.
Sylvester Stallone was 69 when the film was released. Nice. The same age as Burgess Meredith when Rocky 1 was released.
Wow.
Wow.
Different. What a difference
Modern
3 decades of
science.
steroids make. Jesus Christ. Let's see. Later that day, Adonis watches an HBO Sports promo for Pretty Ricky Conlon, who will be fighting Danny Stuntman Wheeler, who's the same guy that put him down in LA. That night, Danny gets awoken by his downstairs. Donnie, excuse me, gets awoken by his downstairs neighbor who was spitting some nasty shit down on her beat machine. He bangs on her door, and Tessa Thompson answers, and he just completely fumbles the rock here.
Oh, it's great.
Man, he just.
His response is like so ready to just talk shit and just be like, "Oh, hey, I'm honest." It's like, "Fuck, man, oh, I believe in you." Immediately here.
Yeah.
I love that he's like, I got to work out in the morning, and she just gives him a ration of shit for that stupid ass thing he just said. Like, why would you even mention that? The next morning, he heads to Mighty Mixed Gym, which is just so much cleaner than it was back in the 70s,
Oh,
thanks to the
the
fact that
worst glow up ever, dude.
Pete
the worst.
Sporino
Give me
now.
that grime.
Yeah, give me that grime, dude.
Absolutely.
Hey, and Nick, wasn't that their OG janitor that was there too? The guy that
Was it
greeted
really?
Rocky? I think it was. Well, when we get to that scene, but I was like, the dude obviously was it a wig? No, it's a toupee. So that's what that dude had.
But here's the thing, everyone. Okay, the people that wear toupees are really the unsung hero of this business because they're the ones out there.
Very good.
They're not lying about their toupees. They're trying to sell more toupees. Are they gross door-to-door salesmen of Hollywood? Maybe, but at least they're being honest about it. Unlike Evangeline
True.
Lilly.
Is it a wig? I don't know. Wigging out. The Scarpino.
It's funny because you hit the note already and then
that's-
hesitated on the note the third time.
It was a... Which one's the snare?
Why is it so quiet? It's like
I need more snare in my headphones.
Oh, here we go. Is it a wig? I don't know. Wigging out with Scarpino.
One of these days, we'll just build you a little pod where all this stuff just stays hooked in, and we're gonna fly you in like the drummer from Rush.
I love it.
And I'm
Like
gonna be
in Rocky
hooked up to it with my
IV, you're gonna
body.
come down.
Wait, who was the drummer that flipped upside down? Was that Tommy Lee or who was that? Remember?
I don't know.
remember
Travis Barker did that one time on Blink 182.
that? He was copying someone from the 90s.
Oh.
Leo the Lion Scorpion is there training him. His dad's the trainer. He looks really cool. His father's Pete Sporino, and he's like, I'll sign you up, bud. He goes for a jog later that night and sees a poster for Bianca at the local club, which is the Electric Factory or something cool like that. Curious, he heads in and he watches Tessa Thompson just dominate the stage. Back at the gym, the Wheeler Conlon fight.
He's just in love at that point.
I mean,
I get it.
how could you not?
Jesus, wouldn't
Like,
you be? Yeah.
Oh.
Just watching someone dominate. Yeah, you said the right word, dominating the stage.
She's
That's
just
what it
as
was.
completely captivating in that scene. And you can see, I mean, again, to Michael B. Jordan's credit, like, I think he played this well. And he's like, damn, I'm in love. That's how it goes. That's my favorite so far. That's like lasers in my ear.
Gets worse and worse every time.
Lasers in my ear. That's good.
Back at the gym, the Wheeler Conlon fight is off because of some pre-fight shenanigans that ended up breaking Wheeler's jaw. At some point, they established that Pretty Ricky is also going to jail forever. And this might be his last fight or something. You're
An
like,
HBO
why not?
thingy, yeah.
A
Yeah,
lot of
like-
parking tickets.
all right, yeah. Pay your
They
parking
stack
tickets.
up over
This is
there.
what I'm telling you guys. Don't skip jury duty because they come for you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Donnie heads over to ask Rock.
Oh, fuck.
He goes over to ask Rock for some drills because he needs some hand speed. And he tells him, he's like, listen, man, I'm going to go by Johnson. He goes, if you train me, we can fly under the radar. And then Rocky, love that Rocky is wearing these massive wool mittens that he has. That
The
like,
wool
up and down.
mittens are comical.
I love them.
I fucking love it, and I also love his little winter fedora. Like, of course, as Sancho is repping here, you gotta
It's a
have the
real
hat.
replica one.
But
Real
his nice one, his one in this one, like he's cozy.
Cold. Of course, Rocky can't help himself. He goes, all right, I got a few. That's it. And then he writes them all down on a piece of paper. And Adonis takes a picture of him and he goes, don't you want these? He goes, nah, they're all up in the cloud. He goes, What cloud? It's such a Rocky
He says it
Dangerfield moment.
twice. And
What cloud?
man, he's just so natural, man. I could fucking watch like not necessarily Sylvester Stallone, just Rocky.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I need more of it, man.
Adonis calls his mom, and she does not answer. So he heads downstairs to ask Bianca out for dinner. And these two just have really good chemistry. Bianca
Not a
heads-
date. What are you talking about?
It's not a date.
Not a
Not a
date.
date.
I don't give a shit.
Not a date.
Bianca heads back inside for a moment to grab her hearing aid, and they head off to Max's for cheesesteaks.
He goes
and
to-
Jesus, these sandwiches. Oof.
I was gonna say he goes to Bianca's pet store.
Oh my god!
Hey,
That would be
you know
incredible.
these you know, the flies and mud, you know, you get shell shock, right?
She teaches him some colloquialisms, including
What's
that
a
John
John?
can just be a noun for anything. And then he asks her about her hearing aid. She said, I have progressive hearing loss. Eventually, she'll lose her hearing completely, but she's come to terms with it, and she's learning ASL, and she's trying to get as much work done as possible before she has to segue into that.
James
She-
Burke has that same thing.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Does he
in-
know
in
this?
one of his ears? And no, he doesn't know that yet. But yeah,
I knew that as a kid. I knew
Did
the
you?
bullshit thing.
Oh,
This
yeah?
one-
That was
Did
like
you know what this
John
one means?
Leguizamo did. The John
Finger
Leguizamo
banging.
bit.
Is that why?
God,
Is that why I know
Yeah,
the John
yeah.
Leguizamo thing?
Yeah, John Leguizamo from
Wow.
Freak. He had that in his one man show.
Oh my god, that's
Such a good
exactly what
show.
it was. It was not only that, but like everybody knew what that meant. Everybody knew the cool S.
of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Like, this is where I was talking about where Creed's characters feel much more interesting than Creed himself, and that's the difference I think between Rocky and Creed. Is Rocky has always been the most interesting character, where everyone else feels like, you know, sort of like a stereotype. Even like Adrian was not. She didn't have any depth to her in the first Rocky. She was
Boo.
just
People
treated
like
as shy.
Fuck out of here with that.
Adrian.
I know.
Adrian hate.
Well,
Get
I-
out of here
Paulie.
with
I'm
that.
just saying. So, and Paulie was just mean, and then he was like a loan shark was Rocky. So that's what I mean. Like when we get to all this Paulie hate. When we get to,
yeah, yeah.
when we get
Doubling
to
down on
Creed-
that joke.
When we get to Creed, I just feel like all the supporting characters are much more interesting. Like Rocky, Creed's Apollo's wife, and then now we got Bianca is like much more interesting than him himself. So that's where I find a hiccup. And then also, I feel like Bianca is just used as a way to inspire Adonis to be like, go for what you want. You had everything. You were a successful financial person, an advisor. You had everything. You had the silver spoon in your mouth, and you're giving it all away. But why? It's because you got to go for whatever's inside of you, your dreams, and that's what Bianca's doing. She's literally living her dream out until it's over. So that's what. And that's why I said it's so like, you motivate me. She's like, what do you mean I motivate you? That's all I am to you? Well, clearly that's why she's here as
Great
a motivation.
fucking
For
line. Wouldn't be
Creed.
your motivation for me. Great. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, that's so good.
Hot. Of course, Rocky, conflicted, heads to his consigliere, the same person who's always gone to her advice, to get some advice about Donnie. And it's actually Adrian's grave and Paulie's grave. They are buried next to each other.
So good.
And it
dude.
doesn't really hit me until he reaches up and grabs the chair from the tree. And I'm
Oh,
like,
come on.
Yes,
Dude, this hit
dude.
me hard. And like, cause like it was so good, and I remember we enjoyed Rocky Balboa a lot because it was like
Yeah.
it felt real. It felt like there was so many like tender moments, and the grave scene definitely was like one of the major ones besides the monologue later in the movie. But seeing it here recontextualized and a decade later, even than that, it felt special, and it felt really like really poignant and meaningful in this film itself, which I thought was great.
yeah, he tries, of course, then to read his newspaper like he's done throughout the prior years, but something else grabs his attention. And a little bit of nuanced acting here from Sylvester Stallone, where he just can't quite focus on that because something else is nagging at him. So, and we hear, of course,
Must be the three seashells.
Whatever.
hey, how do you use the seashells? Which one goes? What does it do? I love. I just again a call out here to the original score. Here we hear the love theme, his sort of like that delicate theme he had with Adrian.
Should I
So
look
good.
that up, Nick, or
What's that?
should I look up how to play that?
Can you give me your best interpretation of it right now?
Go.
Top of your dome. Wow.
You motherfucker.
What is that? Okay. You know what?
Gift that keeps on giving. We watched the fucking Tetris trailer. Now here we are.
I love it. So
my
he
goodness.
heads over to Mighty Mixed Gym. Pete wants Rocky in Leo's corner, but Rocky is there for Adonis. He tells him, "Your father was special. I don't know if you're special. That'll come in time, but you got to work hard. If you don't, I'm out." And he goes, "Every punch I've ever thrown was on my own. Nobody ever showed me how to do this. I'm ready." So Rocky takes him to the chicken coop. A little callback from the first one. You got to check this chicken in under 30 seconds, and he can't do it, of course.
Love this. Love like
It's a good little mini montage. A good
Yeah.
little mini montage.
A little
right
bit,
there.
little montage,
it's-
little man.
Little montage.
It's also
Mini
just like
montage.
I was already talking about how much I love the scene leading up earlier, but I just love the that's sort of like hesitant. Yeah, I'm here. I don't know if I still don't know if I want to commit to this yet, but I kind of do, and I'm here, and I do because I am here. It's just like it's such good nuanced acting.
It's so great, and this is like such a Tim Geddes little factoid pull here. But the music that's playing is the Nas song "Bridging the Gap," and what's really cool about that is a song featuring Nas's dad.
There's a bridge in Philadelphia.
And there's a bridge in Philadelphia as well. So like, yeah, the music there, I thought that was like it was really cool.
So good. Let's see. We have great moments here, including Rocky making him stare back at himself in the mirror and say, "That guy's your worst opponent." At one point, the bell rings and he goes, "That bell means hell." And I was like, I fucking love shit that rhymes. And then Donnie heads over to hang out with Bianca and listen to some of her dope beats. And they lay on the rug and they fall in love.
And it's fucking
he
hot.
smooches her neck a little bit.
A little smooch.
It's sexy.
I
It's
love
hot.
the way this is shot. It feels authentic. It feels like two people having a moment, And I feel like sometimes like sex scenes can just feel like sex scenes in movies. This didn't feel that way.
This felt more like intimacy, which is good.
But this is also where I
Romance.
think the better Michael B. Jordan pops up, where a lot of this does feel natural. When he's doing the stupid rap along, he's like, "Where the beat go? Where the beat go?" Like you could tell a lot of that is improv, and that's why it feels good to watch because it doesn't feel like somebody's memorizing a line,
Pete gets a solid idea. He wants to set up a fight between Donnie and Leo, his son. Make a couple bucks. Donnie talks him, and then Donnie talks Rocky into the fight. He catches Rocky's ball midair, which is hilarious because Rocky's throwing it up, and he goes, "Wah!" He just kind of catches it out and tells him he wants to
just fucking love the ball.
Oh, the ball's back, baby. And then he
fucking
goes,
loves that
he's like,
ball,
"Listen,
bro.
we're gonna do this fight. We're gonna go old school. I'm gonna move into your house. It's gonna be great." And he's like, "Don't worry, I don't walk around naked or anything like that." He's like, "What if I want to walk around naked?" Or whatever. He's like, "Or do walk around naked." Anyway, man, the goddamn music here is great as well. Adonis tells Bianca he's moving out, and then introduces her to his uncle, who he assumes she does not know. And she's like, "Hey, when were you gonna tell me your uncle is fucking Rocky Balboa? Like, you're not who I think you are."
Well, don't forget that line. He's like, well, he's white, and he's like, well,
Love it.
Yeah. It's like-
He's what's the exact line?
it's just really clever.
He's white. And he goes, he says something like, "I usually am," or "I always have been," or something like that. Like he says a Rockyism right here.
Yeah.
And it's just a good fucking call. It just feels like the good times of watching the old Rocky movies. What was it?
Yeah.
6 months ago.
Was it?
Yeah,
It was right before we came back to the studio in October. So I'd say around like August, maybe.
something like that. Yeah. Rocky sets him up in Polly's old room with all of Polly's old dirty mags and tells him his kid moved to Vancouver with his lady friend, so we're not going to be seeing him in this movie anytime soon. 5:45 in the morning, everyone wake up. Donnie wakes up to see Rocky dancing. He's like, "This is how you got to wake up to train." And that's how I wake up every day, Andy,
Get
for
that
you.
caboose moving.
Get the caboose moving.
It didn't look like dancing to me. It looked like he was doing like some form of a gritty. I don't know if Andy could confirm that. If you looked at it,
Was he grittying,
looked like-
Andy?
He looked like it. He was doing kind of like something like that.
DJ Kento says that the line was, "But he's white." Yeah, a long time.
Rocky takes
you,
him
DJ.
to, he's like, "Listen, you can't train at the same gym that your opponent's training him, so I'm going to take you to the Front Street gym, which is down in Franklin or whatever. And man, to tell you what, this place, different vibe. This place is where you want to train a champion. This place is fucking like the most intimidating thing you've ever seen.
No sponsors have taken over this place, man.
No, absolutely.
No
No one's cleaning this
Tecates.
fucking place.
Yeah.
This place has that smell of like a
Oh,
real
yeah.
gym where you're like, "Oh my God, somebody needs to clean this place immediately with like acid." We get introduced to the crew, which includes Stitch, the cut man, and Grant, the glove guy. And I was
real-
like, "Oh, these guys are going to be
a
here the
real
whole
cut
time."
man.
Is he
He's
real
a
cut
real
man?
cut man. Yeah, real cut man.
That's what I thought.
I love. Isn't it? What do they say about the glove guy? Like the best fucking glove guy in NA, top 10 NA.
And off we go for some more training. Rocky can't hold the pads, so he's working with Donnie's mind. He's like, "Why don't you hold the pads?" He's like, "I am working with you. I just can't. I'm old. I can't hold these pads. I can't be fast for you. So I'll work with your mind." And we got other guys that work with this. And
I
the whole
can't hit you fly balls in the outfield, mijo. All right, let me just watch.
But, I mean, I do want to give a shout out. I assume the guy that's working with him with the gloves as well is a real
Yeah,
trainer.
real
All these guys
legit
look
dudes.
legit because the guy who's like, they do that cool thing where it's like, "Papa," and they do the go over, and you're supposed to duck
Yeah.
over, but it always
Swipe.
hits me right in the eye. I'm like, ah. I'm like the dumb dog from The Simpsons where the fucking frisbee just hits me right in the eye.
All those people, real coming from boxing, the gym, fake, CG, all of it.
All of it. Well, some of
And
them
the
are
volume. All volume.
Conlon is a real fighter as well, right?
Yeah.
The guy, the actor. that
Yeah,
played
yeah.
him.
Pretty Ricky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pretty
he's
Ricky.
a real champion. I think he held it. He's a cruiserweight champion. Yeah,
That sounds right.
Sorry, I'm coming. You might have just talked about this, but this scene where they start introducing, like, oh, he's the best cut.
Yeah.
He's the best this, he's the best that. I love the getting the team together. It's a bunch of newbies. We don't know them, but it's hype as shit. I'm just like, oh, I believe in this squad, baby.
He's the best pilot in the galaxy.
Yeah, well, exactly. He's the fastest man alive.
It's hype. It's just it's one of the cornerstones or hallmarks rather of the Rocky series is like the relationship between him and like the trainer. And I guess we get that with Adonis and Rocky here, but like I miss the presence of that third person who's like,
Duke,
you're
baby.
fucking up, dude. We needed a Duke.
I love
And I
Duke.
thought we were gonna have it a little bit with some of these guys the first time I saw this. You just don't. We just don't have a lot of time to flesh out all these characters, but it's fun that he's got a team. And man, off we go. Montage number 2. One step at a time, one punch at a time, one round at a time, and the music here is insane. Fight night. Pete figured out Adonis is Creed's kid, and he's like, dude, we are missing out on a big payday here. And to his credit, Rocky's like, listen, man, he wants to fly under the radar, he wants to establish a name of his own. Can you do me a favor and just not say anything? And you think, because that actor that plays Pete is like always playing the conniving bad guy.
skinny.
And he's
what movie is he from, dude?
he's from The Dark Knight. Remember?
Is he?
Yeah,
You're
he's one of the guys
right.
that has that the Joker kills.
Yes.
He's one of the bad guys there. Remember, he's like on the pile of money and they like kill him or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that. Good call.
He goes to his credit. He's like, all right, sure, Rock, because he's got respect. He's got respect for Rock, and he never actually says anything. Although
He had
maybe
his
he's the one that
hands
leaked
behind
it.
his
Who
back like
knows?
this. He was like this. Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem, Rock.
exactly.
Fingers crossed.
The ref comes in to give them the rules, and everything goes quiet until Donnie freaks. And this is weird. He goes, "You got to cut my gloves
Very
off.
weird.
I got to take a shit." And it's very strange.
You know, it is strange. I appreciate it.
I liked
though.
it.
It grounds it and it makes it feel a little like, again, it makes Creed feel real and like I'm with him. And like it makes the movie not feel like a movie. It makes it feel like you're watching sports. You know?
Wait,
it
do you think that Dom from Fast Furious doesn't take a shit at all? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, Dom doesn't shit.
Like he just does it?
Nah, shit, nah.
I think Dom wills the shit to
Metabolizes.
stay inside of him, and that's what fuels the car.
Metabolized into more fucking
Fuel, nitrous,
Coronas. No, but yeah, I did like this as well, Tim. It felt like this isn't a superhero yet. This guy's
Yes.
nervous by the big
It's-
stage, you know.
It's not that I don't love the moment. I love the moment, and of course, we've visited this moment multiple times in sports movies before, where someone has nerves and has to go throw up. Right. The first thing that comes to mind is Any Given Sunday. Jamie
Willie
Foxx.
Beeman, yes.
The character
Yes.
constantly has to throw up before the big game, and that's just what happens. Nerves are a motherfucker. That is a well-known thing. It's just the fact that he says, "Cut my gloves off. I have to take a shit." That just is weird and kind of sticks out to me as
get
an odd line.
1,000%. It is odd. I obviously feel like it was odd on purpose, but I appreciate that it is also a semi callback to earlier in the movie when like the mom character was talking about having to wipe Apollo's
ass.
ass,
Yeah.
right? And I feel like that thing of like he's not quite there yet, even right, where he's just
Sure.
like I ain't ready to let motherfuckers do that to me. I'm still gonna do that. I'm down
Right.
to cut it or whatever. But it is a funny line, no
was-
matter what way you shake it.
Donnie enters the ring and to touch gloves, and Michael B. Jordan looks insane in this movie,
Yes.
specifically in this scene. The bell rings and Rocky screams to him, "It's all about today. There is no tomorrow." The fight is amazing, all done in the one shot. Very cool and really adds to the tension, I think. I didn't notice this the first time, but at one point, even Donnie gets a cut on his eyebrow. And so they did all of that in that one shot, which is really cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like he goes to the corner as they go to the corner, and he's got a cut over his
Interesting.
eye,
That's dope.
which I think ends up getting opened up back in the next fight. But really cool, and this whole sequence is amazing. And of course, he wins, and he ices him out.
Were they
Oh,
I
there
was
you
gonna
go.
say, like, I feel like this is the. I remember Nick, you had a criticism about Rocky Balboa when he went into the sports section, which this movie does as well later on. That you were like,
Sancho.
the-
Sancho.
Yes.
So we I don't think you heard it on your side, but we played the Rank Those Abs music, so we didn't hear what
You
you just
did.
said.
okay,
Sorry about
So
that.
can
yeah.
you finish what you were or repeat what you just
So-
said?
Rank Those Abs is awesome, but before we get to Rank Those Abs, what I wanted to say was I remember, Nick, you had a criticism in regards to the actual fight choreography
Yeah.
in Rocky Balboa because it was like really jarring to be sports and then it goes into this really ultra cinematic Nike commercial. But I feel like this one, Creed, does a great mix of a modern boxing fight. Like the choreography's clean, the way it's shot's clean, everyone looks great, the movement's great. It's not hokey Rocky, like getting hit in the face and like very exaggerating. But I feel like this one is the perfect balance between all of that.
It definitely is. It's definitely. I mean, it still has to be a movie, so you still have to make this fight sequence exciting,
Yeah.
and you have to make them different. The choreography has to be there. And Michael B. Jordan is very athletic, so he sells a lot of the stuff. But yeah, I mean, you're watching a fight where 12 rounds of guys, these like cruiserweights beating each other's faces in. You're like, someone would have gone down here. And the ref, well, the first time Donnie gets knocked down in the heavyweight in the fight with Conlon, the ref would have been like, I should call
This
fight.
man looks dead. on
That
the
guy's
ground.
dead, dude.
Yeah,
He's
and-
gone. Like, so if someone gets knocked out that hard, you stop the fight.
He
That's
did a
how it
great
goes.
job of like immobilizing the arms and just looking like there was no movement
Fencing,
anywhere.
yeah.
But
Can
I
you hit
mean-
it one more time, Kev.
Go for it.
Were they born in labs? Now it's time to rank those abs.
It's a long intro.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Make Those Abs.
Sancho, if you don't know, Nick's been doing the rank those abs intro quieter and quieter every subsequent time to the point where I didn't even know he was making noise. He just went up to the mic and went,
Welcome back to Rank Those Abs, everyone, where we rank the abs and the physique of all the boxers in the Rocky/Creed series. Tim, do you have the list of where
You
we're
have
at
the list
with
in
this?
me.
Because I totally forgot we do this. I can pull it up for you.
You know, I think
fine
for
to Apollo Creed number
rank those
one.
abs isn't a list. Rank those abs. We just talk about.
we just talk
what
about
we
the abs.
Think about their abs.
He looks phenomenal in this film.
Can I also just say that
You may.
for as amazing, I can't talk right now. For as amazing, it's been a long week, everybody. Super Bowl
That's a
week.
word.
For as amazing as Michael B. Jordan looks with his shirt off, might look better with his shirt on.
Oh, okay, good.
Like-
I'm so happy. I was like, what is Andy about
Or,
to
like,
say here?
I mean, he looks phenomenal. His physique is insane. His muscles look just juicy and plump and luscious.
Like a,
Okay.
When this dude is wearing a long sleeve shirt, it's almost even more muscular somehow.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird to describe, but like he's got like Sancho, he's got like the
The traps.
like the David Robinson like
Yeah.
arms,
Okay,
and
like-
then who
Yeah,
had the wild just shoulders? Was it like also David Robinson? I don't know. Like there's just
like Dwight Howard. type
yes,
thing.
Dwight
Oh,
Howard is
yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what I was thinking of. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's just so square, man. This dude's got an amazing torso, dude.
Very much so.
well, there you go.
Thank you
I
very
mean, he
much,
just looked
sir.
fantastic in this.
I mean, he looks so fantastic. Like I feel like we're not even giving enough credit
No,
to how
I
fantastic.
also I have to say that he does look like Carl Weathers in the ring, like the way he moves and the way his stature is. You really do believe that's Creed's son. Like I
Yeah.
have to give that to him because he's like leaned out and he moves, but he does have a different fighting style. But I was like, wow, that I would say if this was a real thing, I was like, that is Creed's son in the ring.
No.
I like that.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
It's definitly not picking up on the
Thank you,
mic.
fan.
Nick is just mumbling.
We
into
just
the
have to
mic,
look at his
everybody.
fucking lips move. Like,
Anyway, they win that first fight, and they all agree we're gonna go tear up the town right now. Cut to they're all asleep on the couch. It was just been a long emotional day, of course. Bianca plays Adonis Attraction made for him, and it's freak nasty. And then they make out. The next morning over
A
breakfast.
little more than that, but
Well, they bang. They get it. I put they bang in all capital letters. But
hey, Cuff and Link make an appearance. Let's go. Cuff and Link still alive.
Oh, did
still
they?
Around.
Oh,
Did I miss
yeah.
that? Oh, that's
Yeah, you
great.
see the little turtle in the background after the banging.
Yeah,
It's like the rat in The Departed.
Just everywhere. It just cannot be killed.
And shout outs to Bianca in that scene when he wins, where she's like, "I didn't know you could throw hands."
No,
He's
yeah.
like,
She
that
says,
was
"I didn't
so
know
dope.
you didn't tell me you had hands like that."
Yeah,
is
there
what
you
she
go.
says, and
It
I'm
was
like,
so good.
And he's
When a
like, no,
girl
but I'm
you-
square, right? Get the fuck out of here, right? You said I'm square, get the fuck out. No, but like I wanted to praise that moment because her believability in that moment was just like it looked like she had like they were like, hey, you can't watch him or hers boxing ever until the moment that we do this fight.
Yeah.
And she comes in the ring, she pushes, she's like, what the fuck, dude? You're crazy.
bro,
like,
come on.
Yeah.
If you had a superpower and you just started dating Tessa Thompson, and you were like, I'm not.
You
gonna-
impressed her that
I need
much?
her. I need her to see this.
Yeah.
I can't just
Yeah.
tell her I'm a good boxer. I need her to witness me ice this guy in the first round. You're a god for 24 hours at least.
Yeah,
At least.
Up until
Tessa Thompson,
breakfast.
you can't watch Andy Cortez play his MIDI piano guitar until you watch an interview, and suddenly an interview starts. You know?
Why is it going like?
It's getting worse and worse, dude.
Are you lowering the volume every time?
oh my god!
sorry.
No. I cranked it. I
Oh,
cranked it.
he
I'm sorry.
cranked it. He cranked it.
Tessa,
Anyway,
don't
that's it.
watch right now, please. Close your eyes.
yeah, Tessa, don't watch this one.
Tessa,
God
Tessa,
bless you,
no.
Andy.
I was thought you were gonna at least say
your.
your Warzone gameplay, Andy, or your Overwatch, but no. You go with this.
Look away, Tessa, says Michael in the chat.
The next morning over breakfast, Bianca is checking her phone and she discovers Donnie's secret. Of course, she's rightfully mad that he did not tell her that he was the son of Apollo Creed. And they get into it, and this is where they have that concept. She's like, "What are you using me for?" Yada yada yada. I think this is where that scene is. And of course, she's not that mad about it. He's like, "Listen, 100% honesty from this point forward." And she throws him a little cute, like, "You do look like him though, a little bit. Like, come on, that's pretty hot."
It's great.
Was this the scene of him doing her braids?
No, this is out
this
front
is
of
the
Rocky's house.
outside.
She's like trying to walk away.
This is where he
Yeah.
picks
Love the
her up.
braids
This is where he lifts her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, Marianne, back in LA, watches in horror as the news makes it to Sports Center. She's like, "There's no putting this
PTI.
back in." Was it part of the interruption?
Yeah, part of the interruption.
Is that on
Which
Sports
by far-
Center or is that ESPN?
It's
It's
ESPN.
ESPN.
Sports Center is on ESPN.
So it's PTI. I will correct that for my future notes. PT.
PT, part of the interruption. I'm Mike Wilbon. That's 20
Tony
Kornheiser.
Kornheiser. There you go.
Cut over to Liverpool, England, home of the Beatles. Pretty Ricky's manager has found them their next payday. It's Creed's son. Rocky gets the call, and he's like, dude, you can see it on his face, like, this is bad news. This is going to set in motion something that could destroy this kid.
Tim, isn't that guy in House of the Dragon, right? The trainer for
He
Pretty
looks
Ricky?
like it. The guy with the beard, the
think
bald
he-
guy with the beard.
I don't know.
Because I think I've seen him in Rambo. He was in Rambo, so that's why he's really good. I liked him, and I don't know who. I would not fly all the way across the pond for like a 30-minute meeting, but
Oh, they got
that's what he
FaceTime for
did.
that now. We could have just pitched
You know,
that.
I need. There's so much shit here that I need to explain to you guys, and I apologize in advance. But I was trying to look up pretty.
I was
Ricky's-
wondering why this was the result. I was wondering why this was the
Yeah.
Google result.
I was looking up Pretty Ricky's trainer because I wanted to see who you're talking about,
Yeah.
and Pretty Ricky, the group came up, the musical group came up, which of course when we were watching last night, Joey brought up Pretty Ricky and referred to it as a single person. I was like, I'm pretty sure Pretty Ricky is a group, and I was like, that can't be right though. And I googled it, I'm like, yeah, Pretty Ricky's a fucking group. Did you know that Pretty Ricky, the musical group, had a song called Personal Trainer? So
all
it's
come-
hard to get the answer to Pretty Ricky Trainer, but
Yeah,
you know,
it's all
I'm
come
just
full
gonna move
circle.
on.
There you go.
I did want to call out also the part in that previous boxing match. I don't think we've gotten to, or I think we got to it yet and passed it already. But when the discovery is made, and you have that conversation between Sylvester Stallone, he's like, "That kid's got Creed's blood in him." And it's like such a superhero. He's got midi-chlorians,
Yeah,
dude. Like he has superpowers. It was so anime and stupid. I loved it.
Of course, sitting across the table from Conlon's trainer, Rocky says the obvious. He's like, this man came here because he knows you're a sure thing. The only caveat, of course, for taking this fight, the trainer demands that he fight under the name of Creed. Of course, he does not want to do that. Bianca tells him that maybe he's like, look, I've been running from this forever. She goes, listen, maybe tapping into whatever's left behind of your father isn't such a bad thing. He goes, I'm afraid of taking on the name and losing. They'll call me a fraud, a fake Creed. She says, you love to fight. It makes you happy. And you are Apollo Creed's son. So then use the name, make it yours. It's yours.
Yeah, so cool. So
Donnie
great.
heads over to Rocky to talk strategy. And Rocky says, he's the champion, so you got to go to him. You got to go to the body. You got to dig. Dig, Rocky. Dig. If anyone else...
Curtain bombs.
If it was anyone else in my corner, I wouldn't do it, but I got you. So make the call, and they sign up for the fight. But then Rocky falls down during a sparring session, and Donnie takes him to the hospital. Later, back at the house, Donnie and Bianca make him a home-cooked meal. It's a cute... I love this scene. You didn't really need it, but it's nice because he's like, I haven't had food like this. Hasn't been here in a long time. And it's
I
just a
usually
very
have
endearing
things with pasta on it. That's what I used to do. I have a question for the gentleman of the in review.
Go ahead, Sancho.
How do you feel about the plot with the subplot of Rocky getting cancer? I understand why it's there.
I didn't like it.
And I just feel like it's introduced so late into the film that I was already on board with their mission, what they were doing from that scene where he's like, "All right, I got you. You're in my corner." I didn't need anything extra to stay latched onto this movie. But obviously, you know what I mean? Like that's where I was like, I know they need it so he could be afraid that his wife died from it, and he wants to like you have that you talked about in this great line.
And we need the
Whenever it's on,
conflict of like, I'm not your dad sort of thing. Like,
Yeah,
you know.
I was like, I feel like I was on board, and then that's where I was like,
I'm
go
with you.
extra.
I told Nick, I told Tim, I was like, I didn't love the Rocky has cancer stuff. I do think that it does help a bit more with motivations, but I do agree with you that it did feel like it was kind of sprung on us a bit late. I would have loved it if maybe he had it the whole time and knew and just wasn't saying anything and was like okay with, hey, I'm gonna die because I'm not gonna get this treated. I would have been like more okay with that as opposed to like, hey, he stumbles and it's like, oh, this is another kind of roadblock we have to get forward, and then he got into a plane crash, and then he, his dog died or whatever. Like, I don't know, it just kept on. I didn't need that.
I didn't mind it. I like it because I think it speaks to where Rocky is. Like, Rocky's not really 100% in this fight because he's got one foot sort of in the past, in literally and metaphorically like a grave.
Yeah.
Because Adrian has been gone and Paulie's gone. That was his best friend and the love of his life. So I like that he's like, at this point in my life, I'm done.
I also like
and
that
I'm
he said
waiting
Paulie
to
wasn't
die
a good guy.
Like, he has this wonderful line, and we'll skip it forward here, though, where he discovers that he has cancer, and he's talking to the doctor, who's like, we can do this, and he's like, I'm good. I don't want to do that. And then he talks to Adonis, and he goes, if I could take all the things that are good in the world and put them in a bowl and trade that for one day with my wife, I would do that, but I can't do that. So he wants to die, basically. And that's such a powerful thing that, like, to me, I'm like, that moment hit for me. And then having to have Adonis like bring him back and say, if I'm fighting, you got to fight too. I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
it's a little campy, but
No,
it worked.
I liked it. I liked the result of it.
It just felt late.
But
Too late in the movie.
but if it didn't happen, I would have been cool.
Yeah, no, and I get that. I'm with you on that. I will say we alluded to this earlier in the episode, but I've been so excited for Andy specifically to watch this movie since we first started Rocky in review. And I'm like, oh my God, I fucking love it. You're going to fucking love it. Because I feel like me and you are, I would say, the closest of that kind of funny in terms of my taste of movies are closer to yours, I would say. So I was like, oh, he's going to fucking love this. And I knew you watched it a couple nights ago, and I walked in, I was like, Andy, don't spoil it for me, but like, Creed, right? And he was like, yeah, it was cool. I didn't like the cancer stuff. And my heart sank. I was like, oh, you're not going to talk about the montage? You're not going to talk about it? Like that's what you say about this movie?
I mainly rewatched it for the old Taj.
I appreciate that. I do.
Taj point out.
Because that, I want you to know, Andy, I thought about that all day yesterday. And I thought about it this morning when I was in the shower where I was like, this sucks.
you remember the scene in Rocky 5 when Rocky's in the shower? That's Tim.
That's me,
Cold
bro.
shower,
That's fucking
shivering.
me, dude. But what I don't think you guys are wrong that, like, yeah, it's not necessary and it does kind of come out of nowhere. But I think it makes a lot of narrative sense and backing up from the Sylvester interview I was talking about earlier where he's talking about, like, the idea of what being a dad and son, like, that changes over time. I liked giving him a fight. I liked Rocky having a fight that, okay, is it a little bit like we've seen this before? Sure. But I thought it was well done. And I also buy a lot of the lines in this movie set Rocky up to be somebody that is not necessarily taking care of himself. Like even the scene we're just talking about of the pasta and all that stuff. Like I buy that he hasn't went to the doctor in a long time. And that, why was that? Is it because he is kind of ready to go and doesn't really want to know? Because if it happens, it happens. But I like that it is because of what he learned from Adonis and seeing the fight in him. It motivated him to keep fighting and gave him a reason to live, which you kind of can't do that without
100%.
Playing the cancer card, which I know is a little like, we've seen it. But overall, I think it was worth the screen time.
I thought it was worth it enough for... we could treat it with chemo. We caught it early enough. Him going, Adrian, she did that. Yeah, she did chemo. Yeah. Like, God, that's such a good delivery and such a good line that doesn't really need. He doesn't need to say much, and he says so much in there.
But also, I love the way he plays that because he's not trying to be a dick to
No.
He's like thankful. He's like, we're good, and then he just walk away. It's good. It's really good. I'll skip around here a little bit. Of course, Donnie goes to. They have an argument where he's like, "You're not my son. This has always just been like a training relationship, which sucks." And he immediately regrets it. But instead of going after him like he did in Make in the first movie, he has not learned from his mistakes. Donnie heads off over to the Electric Factory to see Bianca's show, but instead ends up mixing it up with one of the other artists that's there because he calls him Baby Creed, and he's like, "I'm not going to let that go." I'll be honest with you, Tim. I wouldn't let it go either.
Yeah. Oh, you would not.
I would not let it go either.
Yeah.
This guy had 15 guys with him. They would have fucking nuked my ass. I'd have like, Don't you call me baby
He
Scarpino,
punches
bro.
the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
He beats a
man.
lot of people's asses. in
Yeah.
this. He actually
Do you
commits
thi-
assault.
Do you think that guy still posted the picture on the gram though?
Definitely.
'Cause
Oh,
he's like, hey, for the
Probably.
gram.
Yeah, this
You
guy
got-
punched the shit out of me a little while ago.
Sancho, this is when you posted pictures to Instagram, you actually could get followers. So yeah, he actually
That's
like
true.
He's definitely
Gotta keep
doing
up with the
that.
algorithm.
You gotta
Yeah, I
keep up
gotta
with the
keep up the
algorithm, bro.
algo.
Now you
I
have
did.
to
I
sting
did like
videos.
that immediate sort of Tessa Thompson being like, no. He does. Look, he's cool. It doesn't mean any disrespect. And that guy going back, yeah, I know I don't mean disrespect. I'm just calling him Baby Creed. Like, why is he so pissed
Showing
off?
love,
Like,
yeah.
that was a great little moment right there.
That guy was a dick though, too, right?
I mean, well,
Because he was a dick to her. He's like, you didn't say what's up to me. She goes, I did say what's up to you, but maybe you, like she's like obviously fears this guy, and he's like flexing on this, and like so you're like, I think we're supposed to be okay with him punching this guy in the face, but he definitely overreacted.
I mean, you could tell that's not the nicest guy in the world, but
Yeah.
I think him calling him Baby Creed was not meant to be like.
I think it was supposed to be a term of endearment.
I'm not supposed to. I'm not shit talking you right now.
Right.
I'm trying to get a photo with you. I respect you. You're a boxer. You're Adonis Creed's son. Hey, Baby Creed, and then her being like, no, he doesn't. He's chill. He doesn't mean disrespect. Like, yeah, no shit. I don't mean disrespect. I
Right.
just called him Baby Creed. Who gives a shit?
Well,
He
I
got
think in
punched
this
the fuck out
universe,
of.
if you say baby something, is this remember in Rocky 6? It's baby Rocky. So it's obviously a disrespect. You call someone baby like baby Tim,
Mhm.
baby Andy,
Mhm.
baby Greg, baby
Paula.
Paula. God damn it, Andy.
baby boss, baby.
Rocky comes to the holding cell to apologize, and Donnie tells him he's like, he's in here talking like your family, but you got my real family killed. Rocky breaks it down. He's like, listen, forgive your father because he's gone and there's nothing you can do about it now, and it's taking a toll on you. You're still caught in his shadow. You got to move, Donnie, is what he says. Then, yeah, it's why every time you do that, I keep getting confused that we're like in the Karate Kid in review instead of this. 'Cause it sounds like
You know what's funny about that? Bill Conti did the music
That's
for
right.
Karate Kid and Rocky.
Oh, there you
So
Little LaRusso.
didn't the same guy direct the first Rocky that directed?
Yep.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Al
John Alvinson. There it is.
Al.
Not Al.
Tribesman.
Was
the
it?
Al
Predator.
Tribesman, the
Al
Predator, yep.
Tribesman. Donnie knocks on Bianca's door to apologize, but she is not having it. And he says, "Don't shut me out." Obviously, he's got some abandonment issues, fear of abandonment. She just takes her hearing aids out and just completely shuts him out. Then he tells him that he tells him Rock has cancer and he won't start chemo. And he found out right before the show. She shuts the door anyway. Sorry, I missed that part. Adonis heads to the gym the next day, but it's closed. The neighborhood kid kind of pulls up. He goes, "I heard you're Apollo Creed's son." And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "That's what's up."
That's what's up.
And then finally,
And he
he's like, "Fuck."
fucking wheelies away.
And he wheels.
Yeah, dude. Let's go, dude. Again, we've talked about so many Rocky movies. One of my favorite things is Philadelphia's character. Is the culture, is the people, and it's the town like rallying behind these
sports fans, dude.
superheroes.
Those are
You know,
bad
and then
sports fans.
yeah, exactly.
Just can't win a Super Bowl to save their lives.
Gia was like trying to talk to me about the Super Bowl, and she thought it was the Philadelphia Birdies, which is just very
Well, because they say
funny.
let's go birds.
Oh yeah.
Like that's their thing is like let's
Yeah,
go
go-
birds.
go
As if
birds.
there isn't fucking other 5 other birds in the NFL.
For whatever reason, this DJ Kento corrected us, and I did want to bring that up at the time, but I totally forgot. But it's not John that I said; it's John, Jawn.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
thought it was John, as in
John.
like that guy's a John. This is John. This
Oh,
is John.
JW.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
JWN. Did not know.
If you
that.
watch the subtitles, you'd know. Jesus.
I started watching it after that because I got sleepy. It's just like, hey, Mr. Miyagi, let me get over there.
There was a little hint of the sad Incredible Hulk music for
Yeah.
for a second there.
It's so much. Of course, he goes to Rocky and says, "If I fight, you fight." So they pound fists. And
But dude,
That's
the
good.
line of
Good
like
moment,
this
good
fight,
moment.
I've seen it before.
Yeah.
That if I fight, you fight.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, let's fucking
he says,
go.
"I've seen it before," and it's like, and more often than not, it doesn't end well. And it's like, damn, dude. But then they go off, and then off the next day, they're in chemo. And Rocky's like, "Hey, am I still training you? Get down and start doing some fucking push-ups. We're gonna do this." So it's running the stairs in the hospital,
Dude,
and off we
Don't
go.
hit the nurse.
And here
Don't
we
knock it
go.
out.
It's
In-
the full fucking Monty, baby. This montage starts.
It hits
The
hard.
music starts going, and then it just keeps going, and it adapts, and it changes, and then there's rap music playing, and then there's fucking choirs happening. I no notes. Love this. I love that it starts in a hospital. Him running up the stairs, like every fucking shot, every cut, everything they do here is perfect, and ending with running the motorcycles, doing the wheelies and all the shit, the slow mo. It is hype personified. It is everything I could look forward to in this type of movie. My brother watched this scene every single day before he did his marathon, and I get that. I watched it every single day to come to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Watching it right now.
To deal with the detours that we deal with. God, man. Again, I'm driving to work.
Why is it always that one street?
I'm driving to work and I'm like, why again today? It was what is going on? I get so fucking annoyed, man.
Man. So it's time right now, y'all.
Are we gonna rank this bad boy?
We're going to rank this fucking montage, everybody. The full Monty, currently, we have 4 placements on the full Monty. At number 1, there's a fucking perfect tie between Rocky 2 and Rocky 4 because, oh my God, of course there is. At number 2, it's Rocky Balboa. Number 3, Rocky 1 and 3 are tied. And at number 4 is Rocky 5. I might not win this, but I think y'all are crazy to not agree with me that this is number 1. I fucking love this scene. It's so good.
No. I will not have you denigrating the good name of Adrian, A.
Mm-hmm.
And B, I will not have you rank this over the montage from Rocky 3, which is incredible.
Yes.
Rocky 2, which is also incredible. Which one was number 1? Rocky 2 and Rocky 4, or Rocky 3 and Rocky 4?
2 and 4.
2 and 4. I will not have you put this above Rocky 2.
He has no idea.
I forgot. No, for a second.
Is.
For a second, I was like, wait, the Rocky 3 montage was great. That's when they splash each other. But no, this is the one. There's nothing.
That's what stood out to you when they splashed each other.
Well, it's also, I was trying to remember which one was the one where he's doing push sit-ups and someone's slapping his abs, and I'm pretty sure that was Rocky 2.
It's Rocky 2, yeah.
Is that Rocky 2? Yeah, this is also, Rocky 2 is also the one where Adrian wakes up from a fucking coma.
That's right.
Win.
And says, Rocky, come here, I want you to do something for me. He's like, what do you want me to do? Yeah, come here. I want you to win.
Oh,
What's
man.
that? Get that. Win. And
Doesn't
the
have the
fucking
choir, doesn't
bells
have the
hit.
slow-mo.
And then they go, what are we waiting for?
Oh, man.
Come on, dude. This shit builds like a goddamn army, ready, putting their armaments together to go take on a foreign fucking power. Incredible.
Oh yeah.
I would put this.
Right into that.
So, Tim, are you saying that number 1 should be 2, 4, and Creed?
I think Creed's above those two.
Okay.
Bro.
I would.
But I'll be down for a 3-way tie. Because I love 2 and 4 so fucking much.
Let's do it. Let's do a 3-way tie.
Put it on there, man. Put it on there. I'll tell you what, though.
Sancho, you saying no?
Oh, dude. Okay, let me break this down legitly, though, dude. Gonna Fly Now is just so good.
So
I mean, this
good.
one has its own vibe. The whole time, there you go. We've been talking about music the whole time. I call these the Creed horns. The Creed horns are really good in the way they get mixed in, and we'll talk about it later. How it goes, it weaves into Creed when it grows into crescendos. The lyrics to it, I don't know what it is, but it's like fight hard, fight strong, fighting harder, fighting stronger. It's not as good as Gonna Fly Now. And I like the moment of them doing the wheelies and whatnot, but dude, Rocky running up them steps, dude.
Rocky
You
running up the
can't beat
steps,
that. And then
iconic.
Rocky 2 having the kids follow him, you can't beat that.
Remember when he
as well.
smokes that little blonde kid?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm trying to give and the kid, died afterward or something. We don't know. He just fell down and had a cardiac arrest.
Then Rocky in the Russian mountains, dude, screaming Drago
half
at the
the
top
movie.
of his lungs, dude, with hearts on fire. You cannot beat that either. So I have
It's
to
on
put it
fire,
in
Tim.
third.
Strong desire.
I have to put it in second.
I'm a Sancho up at the second.
Well, shit. I hate all of you so fucking much.
I'll tell you what.
That I don't know how to handle this. Then I mean, just
That's Joey. Bring Joey in here.
I'm just gonna put it here in a
3-way tie. You're the
no.
emperor.
I'm not putting a 3-way tie.
You are the emperor.
I'm gonna make a note that it's somewhere in the ether between 1 and 2.
Okay.
It's in the multiverse.
The space between spaces.
Can you guys give me a second just so I might be able to find some horn sounds?
Oh no! Is it gonna be good as Creed horns?
No.
And also they have
no
the,
horn sounds
like,
for me. No sonar. No horn sounds. Sorry.
the entire the entire soundtrack is really good. It's really solid.
So
It's really good, dude.
Um,
It is so good.
as Andy gets out his brass
No,
section.
I can't find any.
That's really soulful.
Oh, that's good.
That's really nasty, bro.
It's really nasty.
All right, so we
Just
come
a
back
heads
over.
up, that was so quiet on the.
It's quiet here, and you know what? It's the vibe we're looking for because right now I'm very pensive. I'm
I
really
was gonna say
introspective.
you're looking pretty pensive.
Thinking about life, Andy.
Don't wink.
Thinking about
always
Fox.
has to
Sancho, can
wink.
you hear it?
I could very
Good,
faintly.
good.
It sounds like
for the audience,
fairy
for the
fountain
audience.
from Legend of Zelda.
We cut over to London for the presser where Conlon calls him. He's like, "You're a false Creed."
Oh, jeez.
And all hell breaks loose, which is just a weird line. The night before the fight, Rocky comes to ask for a favor to be cashed at a future date. I assume the favor was walk up the stairs with me one more time. What was the favor? Did he ask for a favor? Did I write that down?
One last fight.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding. Just fucking knocks Rocky's head off. Maybe I got this.
Oh, bitch.
And then there's of course another knock at the door, and who should it be on the other end? It's Bianca, and it's great. And then and they're very happy to see each other, and they make up. And then Rocky tells them, don't have the sex tonight because it takes all the power out of your legs.
Great. That's a great little line.
And she goes, we get it. He's like, you know,
legs,
because
yeah.
it does the legs, right?
Legs.
Let's see. Next day, fight day, baby. We go over a little box waiting for Adonis. What should be in there? Of course, it is a pair of American flag trunks with
on.
Johnson on the back and Creed on the front. And it's
Does
from,
Stallone give this to everybody?
of course,
He's
bro.
just like, hey, take your Greek
Well, he
clothes,
didn't give it to him.
Merry
This
Christmas.
was from Marianne, right?
From his mom.
This was from
Yeah.
his mom. She said, "Go build your own legacy."
Which I love. And I
Which
love
was
the
awesome.
Johnson on the back. It's fucking good, man.
It would be hilarious though if they cut over and half the audience is wearing them too. So did you fucking give this to everyone? Like, whoa, he sold them. It was great.
It was a great pro. I gave these to Tommy Morrison, and he didn't do well in these. But
Yeah,
you
he
could.
tried to kill me.
He
Rocky
tried to kill me in the streets.
Rocky and Adonis square up, and Rocky gives him just a fucking hype ass speech. He says, "Leave it all in the ring, not for your father, for yourself." And then we start walking, and I love that he goes over, hits mitts, and then Rocky's like, "Come here." And this is all one shot as they go into the ring, and Rocky
With Tupac's Hail
Hail
fucking
Mary.
Mary
Which is
playing.
awesome.
Dude,
This
so
entrance
good.
is good.
which I love because his mom's name is Mary, which is great.
So good.
Very
So good.
Of course, he stares in the darkness, and you're like, this can't get any better. And Colin's like, oh, I brought a guy that fucking breathes fire, and I'm coming out to don't waste my time. It's nasty.
The way this is shot,
It's
the
really
hype
good.
of it all, I'm like, I've wanted this from the Rocky movies for a long time. We
Yeah.
got hints of it here and there. Rocky Balboa, I really love the presentation of it all, but this was like, oh fuck. And no future spoilers, but Andy, I can't wait for you to see what happens next week. There is some laser lights that the moment I saw
You saw
them,
part 2?
I've seen in theaters.
Oh, shit.
Part 3 is
You're allowed to watch it whenever you want.
Really?
Yeah.
That's on. My question for you guys is Kevin saying something, or we're good?
no, we good.
Okay, cool. My question for you is like, this is where I have problems with the movie. Like when Rocky's revealed, there's like a really dead lull, and then when it goes to the conference, it's still slow, and then this whole buildup is still slow. And I think my problem with it is when the fight is really good and the setup for it and all the grandiose things that Tim wants, it's only really good when the antagonist fighter is really, really strong. And I feel like Pretty Ricky isn't strong and doesn't really matter in Adonis's world so much. He's just the champion at the time. He's not Mr. T, he's not Apollo, he's not even Drago. So that's why when it gets to this point in the movie, and since it's the longest movie of all the Rockies, I'm like, all right, get to the ring. Like I want to see you guys going in, they do the intros and things like that and the sports package, but this is where I felt that the movie, I felt the first time like, okay, I only care about the end fight and the buildup for it. If I care about like Rocky 1 was great because Apollo was really cool, and Rocky 2, Apollo was really cool. And Peter Ricky didn't really hold my attention enough to like feel this buildup. But when it starts going, then it catches me back up to the intensity. But I just felt like I was like, come on, guys.
Yeah, I think all they had was Pretty Ricky talking shit in the press conference.
That's all they had.
And in the other movies, the villains were kind of front and center for most of them, talking shit. And you got Clubber Lang like beating up families in the street. Like,
Rocky 3, Clever Leg's a fucking specter. That everywhere he goes, Clever Leg's just running around the ground. Remember, he's like, "You want to jump? Jump!" I'm like, what a fucking badass thing to say.
Yeah.
He was, but it also helps that like Mr. T was legit scary in that movie. Like you see him and he's a scary motherfucker. Like if the thought of fighting that guy, and obviously this Conlon, who is a real fighter, like it's scary. The thought of fighting him, but he doesn't have the physical presence. And we don't get the screen time with him that we got with Mr. T.
well, because there's weight classes.
Yeah. We also, which by the way, fucking Sylvester Stallone would have been in this weight class, not in the heavyweight class.
Yeah.
But I digress. We also don't see Pretty Ricky Conlon doing pull-ups on a rope in a fucking dungeon someplace like we did with
That
Mr. T. So
Oh my!
It's
I'm
true.
gonna bite my tongue.
and also Drago, one of the scariest people too, just by virtue of the fact that he's a solid 3 feet taller than Rocky Balboa.
I must break you.
We get introduced to Adonis Hollywood Creed, versus Pretty Ricky Connolly. And off we go. Connolly, of course, puts him on his knees in the first round and cuts his eyebrow open again. Round 2, and Donnie starts to get his mojo. He ducks under a flurry of Connolly, but Connolly rocks him with a massive right hook. Ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a fight. Sorry, he rocked Connolly with a massive right hook. And then Rocky's like, look, man, you woke up the sleeping giant. He's going to come at you with everything he's got, and that is exactly what he does. He's like, don't play Connolly's game. Take it one step, one punch, one round at a time. Round 7, we skip ahead to that, and Donnie is behind, but still in the fight, but it is a bloodbath. Donnie closes the distance and goes to the body, but takes a big shot and goes down. Almost for the count. He's knocked out here.
The shots of like his mom watching and all that stuff. It's just like, yeah, y'all did the damn thing.
Just to reverse a little bit, that the moment where I got into the fight is when he hit him with that first hook. When Stallone's like, "Look for this. You're gonna go over that one hand and hit him with a hook," and that's when I'm like, "Okay, I am back into this world." Because he hits him with a hook and then he cuts Pretty Ricky. I mean, Pretty Ricky is supposed to be pretty face, just like Vega in Street Fighter. You mess up the face, he's gonna get really mad. And that's when I was like, "Yes, here we are. Now this is a Rocky boxing movie."
He bleeds like me, and then the fucking Rocky theme hits. Are you kidding me? This is incredible.
I love it. Of course, on the mat, we find him on the mat. He is out, and everyone's screaming for him to get up. And we get a couple flashes of his mom and Rocky and Creed and all of these things. And he just comes back. He just pops back up like a man fucking possessed.
One
That's what they said.
One step, one round.
Come on.
One boxing glove at a time. His left eye, of course, is swollen shut. The doctor comes to check his eye, and Rocky helps him out. He's like, he taps on his neck to make sure the doctor. And you think the doctor's like, I've seen this before, but maybe he wants it to keep going. Who knows? Maybe the doctor is getting paid off, just like the ref, Cobra Kai.
The fix is in.
The fix is in.
She stepped out of
It's
bounds.
you
She
against
stepped out of bounds.
you. Yeah, it's
Get
you against you.
him out of the way.
Yeah.
You taught me how to fight again, so
damn.
you got to fight too. I want you to go across that ring and knock that son of a bitch down. Creed gets to his feet. Rocky theme kicks into high gear, and we get into round 12 of 12. They start mixing it up, man, and with 0 seconds left on the clock, Donnie knocks Connell into the ground, but he's still got to be. You can't be saved by the bell in the 12th round, which is something that I learned. I also learned that's where the term "saved by the bell" came from. He has
What I
to
wanted
beat.
to say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but what I wanted to say is this is where I noticed that the music it hits in that Rocky in high gear, and then it slowly starts morphing into Creed's theme.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Which
It's
I
awesome.
thought was really cool, that how they were able to, bring in that Rocky things. And that is why when I hear about what's happening with Creed 3, I'm like, how can they pull that off? Because they want it to be more of a Creed story, but I like how they go like, okay, Rocky was the past, and then it goes into the Creed theme and the Creed horns, and like, yeah, final round, let's go. And hey, shout out to the casters, all right? We casters, we add a lot of drama to what's being presented on the thing. Max Kellerman and Jim, what is it? Jim Lampa something?
I don't know, Jim.
Andy?
That's me doing my Tony Romo impression of
Oh, there
CBS.
it
What I do appreciate is the round number with the time left, seeing that countdown in real time. What I don't like is that they're largely, it seems like they're just using the same cameras for whatever the pay-per-view camera is, the boxing camera, and the theatrical camera.
Yeah.
I wish that they were like visually different enough, because
Right.
my number one pet peeve in movies, as Tim knows. Tim's thing is he hates when people get the news via news segments on the news. I hate when those news segments look like they were shot with fucking IMAX cameras. Like I need the news to look like a shitty fucking broadcasting camera. And I wish that like when we're seeing the shots of the mom or Tessa Thompson in the crowd, or just shots of Rocky, or even just shots of close-ups of Michael B. Jordan in this movie, I wish that whenever they showed the shot with the score and the round number and the
HBO
time on
logo?
the bottom
Yeah.
right with the HBO logo, I wish that looked visually different to
Yeah.
me.
Fair enough.
Like in Rocky 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Straight up
exactly
HBO.
like that. He beats, of course, Connolly beats the 10 count, gets to his feet, and it goes to a judge's decision, which unfortunately does not go Creed's way. Connolly wins the split decision and retains his title as still champion of the world. But he goes, I got to give you props, Creed. You're the future of this division. And he's like, I'm proud to be a Creed, is what he says to Rocky. And he's like, oh, that's great.
Proud to be a Creed.
Donnie raises his hand as the crowd cheers for him, and he hugs Bianca and Rocky. Ricky O'Connell, of course, wins the fight, but Adonis Creed wins the night. Which is what
That's a great line.
Great
dude.
line.
I'm so jealous that he had that written, because usually when you cast something, you have to come up with that on the spot.
yeah, I'm sure
It's not
I'm sure
easy.
he's never said that before. That's
You
crazy.
got to try to meet the moment, you know.
You have to.
Not everybody
dude.
can meet the moment.
It's
tough.
super difficult because you can mess it up so badly.
You
especially
really-
when you call the wrong winner.
We all remember La La Land.
We do. We do.
Warren Beatty fucked it up.
Yeah, Warren Beatty, fucking get him off the stage.
Baby Betty did.
Rocky takes, and the next a few weeks later, probably presumably, Rocky takes Donnie to the famous steps, and they have a little trouble getting up, but Donnie helps him get all the way to the top, and he's like, "Listen, man, when you
So
get up to
good.
the top of this thing, you think you can fly."
I think they added a few more steps.
So good.
I like that.
So
Donnie helps
good.
him make it all the way up to the top, and he says, "You know, if you look hard enough, you can see your whole future from here." And he says, "How does it
come on.
look?" And he goes, "Not bad, kid. Not bad at all." And that
So
is
good,
the
dude.
end of Creed.
I was trying to.
Dude, I love this shit. Go for it, Andy. I don't know what you're doing, but yeah, okay, good. Yeah.
I just for the outro.
Yeah.
We're emotional now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
It's so good.
Let me.
Hey, that's the
we have
same
a-
shot of parallel shot of him going up the steps, right? You know, the same exact Rocky one,
Yep.
following up the same way. So
I love
If-
how many
if it was-
times
if
they've
the
had
whole
him go
thing-
up these steps.
exactly. If this whole thing ended right then, I'd be like, awesome, Rock. Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. A cool thing that Gio was saying was that when she did her first half marathon when she lived in Philly, it ended at the steps. And I was like, that is the coolest thing ever.
That's badass.
But it ended at the bottom of the steps. And I'm
gotta
like,
go up
that's
the
steps.
the
You gotta go
least
up.
cool thing ever. Like, I understand. Like, look, I ain't running a fucking half marathon, so whatever. But like, make him go up the fucking stairs.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We did the full Monty. Now it's time for a little thing I like to call Ragu Oppo.
Ragu. What? Oppo.
Oppo.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rad Guys Talk the Opponents. Is that what Oppo
Yep.
stands for?
Yes,
Of the
that's
Rocky
right, that's
series,
right,
because they're
that's
not
right,
necessarily
that's
bad
right.
guys, and sometimes you're your own.
Not necessarily bad guys.
Not
I like
bad
the
guys.
explanation.
Not bad guy.
Yep.
Where do we want to
Apologize.
put Pretty Ricky Connellan on the list?
The list is as follows. Number 1, Apollo Creed from Rocky 2.
Badass.
Number 2, Ivan motherfucking Drago from Rocky 4. Number
Nice,
3,
nice.
Apollo from 1. Number 4, Clubber Lang from 3. Number 5, Dixon, which, I guess.
Mason the
Mason
Line
the Line
Dixon,
Dixon.
baby.
Mason the
Yo,
Line
you're
Dixon.
right.
Mason the
I want that
fucking
shit. That
Line
was great.
Dixon. Get the
And
fuck outta
Tommy
here, Andy.
Gunn. Tommy Gunn at number 6. Where do we want to put Pretty Ricky?
I mean, I think Tommy Gunn goes above him, dude, because he's got a better
Yes.
name.
Yeah.
Tommy Gunn's pretty fucking
And also,
good.
like, he was just pretty inconsequential here. I really don't feel like this wasn't meant to be a. He wasn't the demon. He wasn't the opponent. It was getting, accepting your legacy, accepting who you are. And I feel like he was just kind of in the way. You know?
Having said that, I still would put him above Dixon. Dope names.
But the name is so cool.
Yeah, I like
the
Pretty
name
Ricky
is
too,
so
though.
cool.
But this is not something I'm gonna fucking fight with. So we putting him last, Sancho.
Yeah, I agree with that. But just to be on a major watch, I
Oh.
think Jonathan Majors.
The major
Be up
watch.
there.
Oh yeah, we better
He's gonna
fucking
be up
strap
there.
the goddamn fucking.
Oh my
the
god!
forecast.
Major,
The hierarchy of
major
power is about
breaking
to
news.
You gotta watch out,
Shift
dude. 'cause
gears.
You talk about a demon, they're setting him up to be a demon.
The
for
major
Creed
leagues
3.
right here, dog.
There you go, dude.
All right,
So dead last.
We're putting him last. We're putting him last.
There you go.
Now it's time for the final fight hype. Number 1, we have Rocky Balboa. Number 2, Rocky 4. 3, Rocky 2. 4, Rocky. 5, Rocky 3. 6, Rocky 5. I'd put it at number 2. Personally, I thought Rocky Balboa was such a good send off to the Rocky character in that fight. The way that they presented it, like HBO, it was hype
Yeah.
as hell. Fucking love it. I think that the final 3 minutes of Creed's fight are pretty much as good as this franchise can get. So yeah, I'd put it at number 2.
What is it ranked again? Read this for me one more time.
Balboa, 4, 2 are the top 3
As far as the fights, the actual final,
final
fights.
fights.
And it's only final fives, or else the one
I
shot
put it.
would
I
have been
put
higher.
it above. I put it above Rocky 3, right above Rocky 3.
So under Rocky 1, 2,
Yep.
4, and 6.
I'm trying to remember 4.
The Russian.
It's the Russian dude.
The Russians
Remember,
cut.
if
The
you-
Russians
if-
cut.
If you could, you see, you cut him. You see, he's a
And he's
man,
like-
not a machine.
It's like the man is made of iron.
I mean, just
Yes.
where they fought was just so cool. But I really
Yeah,
hated.
they fucking won the Cold War, bro.
exactly.
But I really hated like his whole. I really hated his trainer being like, "You're a fucking loser," and him being like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Ivan Drago."
Drago.
I don't remember Duke saying that.
I'd go number 2. I'll put this at number 2,
Ooh.
underneath Balboa.
right there with me.
I would put it above the fight for above 4.
There you go. So number 2.
I would put
number
this. This
2.
is just a very well choreographed fight. I think the choreography is good. I think the emotional beats are there, and it's faster than the other ones.
Yes,
I don't think we
it
spent a
is.
lot of time on this, which I think works well for the movie.
Absolutely. And now it's time to rank the Rocky/Creed cinematic universe. Currently, number 1 is Rocky 2. Number 2 is Rocky Balboa. Number 3 is Rocky 1. Number 4, Rocky 3. Number 5, Rocky 4. And number 6, Rocky 5. I already said I put it at number 1, and I stand by that.
I would put this at number 3 underneath Balboa.
Damn it! Can you read it again? It's so confusing to just. I have to
2,
see this.
6, 1, 3.
6, 1.
2 Balboa. 1, 3.
I would put it above. I would put it below Rocky 1. I still think Rocky 1 is the OG. Like I said, Rocky himself as a character was much more interesting. It bred this entire series run because it wasn't that the cast of characters around him were much more interesting. He was the most interesting magnetic thing. And Creed he is not magnetic enough yet. I know he'll get there. And Michael B. Jordan is magnetic himself, but I feel like the character of Creed was only better. He was better as the movie went on because the people around him made him better. And
Balboa made me cry also.
Yeah.
And
Balboa
Gonna Fly
is
Now is
very
like
good
is such a strong moment, and that's why I think it's just right below 1.
I would probably agree with that. I like this movie a lot. I just feel like 1, it just kind of did all the beats that this movie did. It just did it slightly more rough around the edges than back in the 70s. And I think they're both great, but I think that 1 just kind of did it better. So I'd probably put it right below 1.
So there you go. Number 1, Rocky 2. Number 2, Rocky Balboa. Number 3, Rocky 1. Number 4, Creed. Number 5, Rocky 3. Number 6, Rocky 4. And number 7, Rocky 5. We'll return next week with Creed 2. And then the week after that, Creed 3 with Sancho live in the spare bedroom. Extremely excited for that. Let us know in the comments below how much you disagree with this list, because I know you love to do that. If you love the Philadelphia Birdies, if you don't, I don't know. Talk about it. Engage, everybody. Engage. Sancho, thank you for hanging out with us. Where can people find you?
You can find me in everything at Sancho West, and of course, I'll be there in the spare bedroom, like you said, in a couple of weeks. So I'll see y'all soon, fam.
Hell yeah. Until next time.
Keep on punching. One Andy
For a second,
Rip
I
at
thought you were playing
time.
Blind Melon.